Welcome to the Occupational Safety Leadership Podcast, episode number 276. Let's take just a few seconds and talk about the role of the formal leader in occupational safety. A couple episodes back, we talked about the informal leader, and those are people that have influence over others out there. And that's a very vague concept, of course, but that informal leader can be that older guy who knows everything out there. It can be that person that tells a good joke and people want to talk to a lot. So they have the informal leadership traits. These are folks that, of course, can obviously really help us to spread that safety message, really get our points across. Now, let's talk about the formal leaders out there. And when we talk about that, we think about the president, the CEO, the directors, the vice presidents, all that kind of stuff. People that we think of a title of a formal leader out there. The formal leader is there to help and support the safety function. But that also doesn't mean that they're a blank check. Now, don't get me wrong, it would really be awesome that if I just showed up and said, I need $100,000, and they couldn't do it, and they just signed it. They just gave it to me. And I'm going to go spend it, and I'm going to make things better, and I'm going to. So when we talk to the formal leaders, we have to make sure that we change our message a little bit. And we're not saying that safety is not important, of course, and we're not saying that we can get by doing things cheap, but what we're going to do is put it in terms that they understand a lot better. When you start talking about hazard and risk and all that, and how much money, and we're going to abate something, and we're going to, they might have risen to this position not working in the factory or not working in this particular industry. They may not know the equipment that you're talking about. It doesn't mean that they don't know other equipment and other things. So at times we have to kind of think about setting the scenes. Here's the background. Here's the equipment, and um, also take some pictures if you can. I know some places you can't take any pictures. They're very worried about taking pictures and all the intellectual property that gets out. But if you have a chance, take pictures. Help paint this picture for this person that you're going to ask for money or support. Sometimes you're not asking for money, but what you want is support. We're going to change the formal documents. We're going to roll out a new program. We're going to whatever it is. So that formal leader, not that they don't think safety is important, but they also know they have to be good stewards of the money that the company is asking them to manage out there. So think about when you're going to change your argument when you talk to them. It's also very important that they get out as much as they can and literally see how things are run out there. I have talked to a lot of safety professionals, and I'm not going to say there's a one size fits all. Some are very focused on we have to clean up, we have to do everything we possibly can to present the very best when this person comes down and walking through. Me, I like to not tell folks about this, not say, hey, everybody needs to clean up. We're going to do some housekeeping. We're going to do, because your place ought to be set. It ought to be ready to go. And if it's not, well, then they are seeing it in its everyday form, not in its nice, polished, cleaned up form. Um, that may not give them the same exact perception when they go in and they look and they say, wow, it's really neat, clean, everything's awesome in here and all that stuff. So there's a lot of different ways. And of course, I always tell folks that this is not an ambush. It is not me trying to make things look bad on purpose and then bring them through. But we ought to be set and ready to go at any point when it comes time. So, so I do think if you have the opportunity, take the person to the equipment, show the person the floor, do these types of things out there. to help build your case. So, and with that said, of course, um, when you show up to talk to these folks or talk to them, as they're walking the floor or the chemical lab, wherever they happen to be, and they start talking about how you assess this risk, make sure that you can present them something. So all of us have this. We have this feeling something bad is going to happen, and not like that's bad, but to the person in charge of money, it's, well, how do I quantify a feeling? How do I quantify that Bob said, well, something bad is going to happen? Bob can't really even tell me what bad is. He can't really tell me how he even assessed this. He just knows something bad's going to happen if we don't fix this, So let's think about our arguments and saying, it has been assessed via the whatever company process is out there. Here's what to come back with the likelihood, and also be honest about, the if it can or it can't happen then. So sometimes I know that we get to a point that we want to really prove our point, and we really, but let's sit down and kind of think about, is it really realistic what we're asking for. So, and with that, I'm starting to drone on and I'm starting to wander off on topic, but I just wanted to sit down and talk about the role of the formal leader. They're going to be that person that's there to support you. So, in an ideal sense, they would give you a blank check and say, I don't care how you assess things, you just make it better. That's not really real. That's probably not going to happen out there. So, have your assessment, have your risk, your consequences, likelihood, all that stuff, have it set up, ready to go. Take them to the equipment if you possibly can. Walk through these scenarios out there, because to them, you're asking for money, which means that it can't be spent in other places. It can't be spent on potential raises, bonuses, if you're looking at IT equipment, just other avenues out there. So, and with that, I want to wrap it up. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. My name is Dr. David Ayers. Thank you, and have a safe day.